I gotta just try to make this up on the cuff here.
Yeah, you do.
Anyway, we're going to try to show you how I tune an IOM. And so we're going to just start off and go through step by step through the procedures that I use to tune my IOM. So anyway, we'll start with I tune the boat I always stand behind the boat to look at the sails. And that's how I tune the boat. As long as the mast position for rake is already set. And we have the transmitter turned on and the receiver turned on. And we make sure the stick for the sheets is all the way down, so when we're finished, anytime you pull the stick all the way down, your sails come right to where you've tuned it. So what we're going to do is start with the boom angles. I'm going to position the boom angles off the center line. Now right now on this boat here, the Vector, I can see that the boom is in too close to center. So what we're going to do is change that with the winder down here. We're going to ease that off and let it out. Now, I didn't have to let it out much because an IOM likes to sail with the main boom very close to center line, but you don't want to get it too close, because then what will happen is the boom will go down. They call it sheet vanging, and it will pull the boom down, and you don't want that to happen. So you have to be a little bit off center. So I'm approximately off of the center post here to the boom. It looks like about maybe 10 millimeters, which is enough that you won't get sheet vanging. So now that's for the main boom. That looks good. Now we're going to look at the jib boom, and we're going to see if it's too far out or too far in. If the boom was in here, of course, it's in too close to center. You've got to get it about right where it is now, about halfway between the mast and here, and maybe even sometimes a little bit more towards the center, right about there. You don't want to get it in too close, or your jib will backwind the main. Okay, so we got the boom set. So now what we're going to do is look at the camber in the foot of the sail. Okay, we're going to change it. As you can probably see right now, it's almost totally flat in the main. So we're going to change that to give it a little bit of camber. And so I'm going to loosen up the screw and then slide the clew inward a little bit. And I'll stand up and take a look at that. And that looks about right. It looks like you might have about 25 millimeters there. So we'll lock that down. Okay. Now we're going to look at the foot of the camber in the jib, and we can see that the jib is almost totally flat in the bottom. So we're going to move that forward, the clew forward. Let me see here. Before I tighten it, I'll take a look at it. And I might move that back just a little bit. See if that works. Yeah, that looks about right. That's about, maybe 20 millimeters, I'm making a guess here. And we'll lock that down. And okay, then the next thing we're going to look at is the boom angles look pretty good, and the amount of draft in the sails look about right. And this is all approximation. You might change it later after you put it in the water and sail it. So Now we're going to look, the next thing we're going to look at is the twist in the main. We're going to look up the leach of the sail, which is the back part of the sail, and we're going to see from the boom to the top how much twist we've got. Now you have to have some wind to do this, otherwise the sail will just hang straight. So to get more twist, you need to lift the back of the boom up, which the boom vane is what controls that. So if I want to lift it up more, or have more twist in it, I let this out, and that allows the boom to come up. And as it comes up, it should get more twist in it, particularly when there's wind in there, pushing hard. So it might be too much for now because we're not actually out in the wind, so I'm going to take that back up to where it was. And because it shows a nice, just a little bit of twist in here. Now that may show more once you're out sailing, so after you tune on the stand, you need to then put the boat in the water and sail it around a little bit and keep checking, oh gee, I might have too much twist or I might not have enough twist. But once on the stand, we look at it and we kind of like that twist. Then we have to match this twist with the jib leach. And the jib leach, you can see right now, is real loose and wide open here. Okay, I have the topping lift off right now. There's no pressure on this topping lift. So in actuality, this should not be like this right now. This needs to go down. Well, because it's not going down, we have to try to correct that. And let's see how much room we've got between there. Oh yeah. So what we're going to have to do is move the pivot point on the jib boom more forward to get a little bit more weight back in the back of the boom so it will pull itself down. The only other way you can do that, let me see the backstay, because you can do it with a backstay too. Okay, we can do it with a backstay. Let's take up on the backstay and I'll look at that. Now, you see how it's open right there on the back of the leach, and I'm going to tighten the backstay and it should close up. See that, how it closed up? Okay, so we were able to just tighten the backstay and get rid of that bagginess. So also on an IOM, we have to make sure there's enough backstay tension to bend the mast to fit the sailmaker's curve, luff curve that he's put in the sail. So we have to do that. So I'm going to pull on the backstay a little bit. Let's see here. I think it's about right where it was. And now we have enough tension by using the backstay that it pulled that in. Now if we need to put more in, now we start using the topping lift. See, if I use the topping lift, it opens it way back up again. So I'm going to have to ease that off and get it back down there. I think we're going to have to put a little bit more tension on that backstay to get more downward pressure on the back of the boom so it pulls the leach tight. Because that way when we get it over tight like it might be right now, it is. You can see that it's over tight. Let me check something here. I'm going to tighten up on the material here, on this bowsy here. Okay, so now it's in too tight. So what we can do is then pull on the, tighten up on this topping lift a little bit, and it doesn't take much of a change down there. We've got to look at it from back here. And with wind pressure in it, it's a little bit tight on the stand, but I think with a little, when you're sailing it, enough pressure will come into the sail to bring it to where it's just about right. But that's why you have to test the boat in the water after you've done it on the stand, because that's the really where you see how it's going to react and what you might have to do. So as the wind picks up, this is opening up quite a bit, so I might want to tighten that boom vane just a little. So we'll undo the stop nut and do a little bit of tightening. Probably won't take much. And maybe just a little bit more. Take a look at it. And another thing is, anytime you tighten the boom vane and bring the back of the boom down, that makes the main sheet a little bit longer and it moves your boom out farther, so you have to readjust your boom angle. If you let the boom up, this line gets shorter and it brings it in closer, so you may have to use your winder or adjustment to let the boom back out to where you like it to sail. So you have to be aware of that also. You also have to be aware of your downhaul to make sure you don't have big luff wrinkles in the luff. And this particular boat, in the mainsail, they have a jack wire in there. And so they can tie that real tight against the mast. That's one of the ways that it can be done. There's several ways. The sailmaker can make the sail. You can make it with grommets. So you can just tie around the mast, or you can make it with this jack wire in there. So there's a few ways of doing that. So let me see now how it looks here. Now, I happen, with enough wind that'll push it out, but in light air that could stay like that. So what you can do is remove this little tape right here. You can peel that back and cut that off so that this sail will take a perfect curve every time. So I'm recommending to Julian that we remove that little piece of tape right there so that maybe the sail will lay a little bit fairer in here. Now with enough wind it'll push it out there, so it's not a big deal. I think, let's see how much twist is in that jib. I think it's maybe open a little too much. I'm going to let off on this bowsing just a little bit, just a fraction of an inch. Because once we get the wind, when we're sailing, once we get the wind into it, it's going to open up. And that might be a little too much, because it doesn't take but a fraction of an inch. And so if you grab the top of the line and the bowsing with the other hand, you can just move it a fraction of an inch, like a millimeter or half a millimeter. Bring it up just a little bit more. And then take a look at it all the time from the back. And take this up just a little bit more on the twist. Now that's looking pretty good. I think with the wind in it, it's going to be pretty good. We'll check it when we get down to the lake, and we'll sail it. I'm going to lock put the lock nut on there now, and we'll try it. The foot here may be a little tighter than I'd like, but we'll sail it that way and see how it goes. So you actually have to sail it to really know on the water. And so that's about really all there is the way I tune a boat. And pretty basic, it's not too difficult. Keep your two leeches, do your main first with the twist, and then match the twist with the jib leech so they follow parallel with each other. And that's all there is to it. Boom angles, twist, and draft in the sail, the amount of draft you want to. And you can always play with this and experiment. Try a little flatter, try a little looser. And after a while, after enough practice and time, you kind of get the idea where to put all these things. And it's just a matter of experience and doing it. But I think that's all I could tell you about tuning the boat. And so I hope this helps everybody that watches the video. So thank you all, and good sailing.